don't take this the wrong way, Richard. If you don't win 2 championships, that first championship really don't count. And so,
I want to throw my drink at you because you could barely even get that shit out with a straight face.
I know Ron locked in right here.
One of the things I love about betting my favorite sports is that I'm always finding new player props or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. It's called a same-game parlay bet, and you can only find them on FanDuel. Same-game parlay is just one of the reasons I bet with FanDuel. It's easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet. It's easy to place your bet fast during a game if you see a trend you like. My friends, they love betting on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Plus, when you win, FanDuel pays out your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today to create a same-game parlay and use promo code ROADTRIPPIN at sign-up. New users get their first bet risk-free up to $1,000. FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win. That is promo code ROADTRIPPIN, so they know I sent you. Disclaimer, 21 years and older and present in Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, or West Virginia. First online real money wager only, site credit and non-withdrawable, and expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 for Colorado, 1-800-BETS-OFF for Iowa, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, Indiana, 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan, 1-800-GAMBLER, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, Tennessee Redline, 1-800-889-9789, Tennessee, or visit www.1800gambler.net for West Virginia. Hey, Road Trippin' fam. Just want to give a shout out to some of our friends in the podcast business. The Just Women's Sports podcast, Tea with A and Fee, is back from Olympic break. The podcast, hosted by 2020 WNBA MVP Asia Wilson and 2019 Rookie of the Year Nafisa Collier, features awesome guests who spill all the tea, including Dawn Staley, Kevin Durant, Elena Delle Donne, Steph Curry, and more, along with commentary on the WNBA season so far. The latest episode features 2021 WNBA All-Star MVP winner and Dallas Wings guard Arike Ogunbowale. Make sure you download the episode and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that you don't miss a thing. And while you're at it, make sure you've signed up for the Just Women's Sports newsletter so you never miss the latest women's sports news.
Welcome into this edition of Road Trippin'. We are back in the studio. I'm your host, Allie Clifton, alongside Richard Jefferson. Channing Frye remains away from us. He can't get far enough away from us.
Yeah, right. Y'all miss me. I know it.
You wish. You guys had some fun this morning. This is not your first podcast today.
No, it's not our first.
No.
Probably won't be my last today.
But I heard that you guys saved
What's my last?
some time for that of our guest, who, if you watch Spectrum Sportsnet, if you watch the Lakers, if you watch the NBA over the last 35 years, you would know this man. He's a 7-time champ.
She did.
Some things never change, man. I
Kevin
promise
Durant
you come
cheated
back
on
to
you.
a new season where you're not bagging on me, but
Yeah.
you're starting already. Alex.
35 years.
Cheers.
It has not been that. When did you come into the NBA?
92.
Oh, 35 years. I was 4.
Yeah.
It's been 35 years?
Yes.
God.
Yes.
25, though. No. Let's
I
do the
played
math.
16 seasons. I've been done for 10 plus years, so it's over. I ain't 35.
Okay, listen, math is not our strong point on this show.
Let's just
If
say
you
that.
ever try and drink and do
Actually, we could start there, just to kind of refresh. Do you both, Richard and Channing, do you guys have college degrees?
You're damn right I do.
Okay, Channing has one. I have an undergrad and a master's. Do you have a college degree?
No, I graduated from Cass University.
Oh, here we go.
Well, guess what? Our guest is here to tell you, Richard, that it's never too late because he just graduated.
Really?
From
Congratulations.
Yeah. What, back in
Does that count?
January?
You're asking
February?
me?
I don't know. It was right during the end of the NBA season. It was in May. Yes.
Yeah, it was
I
in
graduated
May.
in May.
So like,
Yeah.
What was your degree
so
at?
no, so is it like do like DeVry? Is it like a trade school? Where did you graduate? Was it ITT Tech?
So what happened was
not the disrespect. Not the
What
disrespect.
happened
No, I don't think
was-
that
Don't disrespect anybody.
When I left college, I went 4 years. Not like you really good guys. I had to stay 4 years, and I only had.
Channing stayed 4 years. He wasn't good.
I only had 8 classes remaining, so I went back and I took my classes online. As soon as I saw COVID come in, we was gonna be on lockdown. I said, "What a better way? Just,
You know
pass the
what?
time."
Of all the things that I could have done over COVID, that never crossed my mind. That never crossed my mind. And I'm thinking of, I'm like, that was actually a good idea. We were really there. And I'm like, I never thought about that once.
You know
That's how
what's-
far away from
But
school.
you think about it, you're so close to graduating, then the NBA calls, you do this long career in the NBA, you make all this money, you sit back and says, what the hell I need a degree for, But then you realize your mama's sitting there saying, why don't you have a degree? And then your kids are like, Dad, you don't have a degree. And so you try to set that example for your kids and then make your mama proud. So I went back and got my degree. And so I'm happy now.
See, I feel like I can consistently keep up a lie to my kids until they're in college. Like, no, I went back and got my degree. I went back. I went back and got my
You
degree.
do have a gym named after you, so obviously you did something right.
Yeah, but
Aw,
that's
that was really nice of you, Channing.
Yeah, no, he doesn't mean that in a complimentary way.
I don't
You have a
mean that
gym named
whatsoever.
after you?
Well, I donated some money years and years and years ago to help build a practice gym for like the student athletes because we didn't have very much. We did not have very much there. So they built a practice gym. So now like all the volleyball and all the basketball practices are like held in like this big auxiliary gym, the Richard Jefferson Gymnasium.
Oh, that's
If you're
awesome,
ever on
man.
campus,
Yeah,
Rich, if I ever make it big, I promise you, if I got an extra 5 to 10 million, I'm changing the name on that gym.
Two things. I'm trying
That
to
would be
figure out what
amazing.
you mean. First of all, if you want to pay me 5 or 10 million, you can have it. I'll tell you that. You give me $5 million or $10 million, I'll give you the name of the gym. It does. It does. I have the naming rights. I have the naming rights to the gym. That's what you pay
Hey,
for.
when I left Alabama, I was like, thank you, holla. I'm not leaving you. I'm not giving
I'm
you any
out.
money. These mugs still make me pay for tickets. If I want to go to a football game, they say, oh, can you pay for that? I'm like, dude, do you know how much money I generate for this school? I'm like, I don't even have my picture in the building. So.
Oh, actually, okay,
see,
wow.
no,
I
so
am so-
Allie
It's in the-
went
it's in the
she
corridor.
was on campus. It is a shrine on campus. Like he doesn't have his picture in the building. Like
I went on what?
on Arizona's campus.
You don't have your picture at Bama?
I want it inside the arena, so when a game is playing,
And you
boom,
made me wear your jersey on a show, and you don't even have your picture
it's in
the
the
arena?
lobby. I don't count that. It's in the lobby. But some people
You
don't
guys are
come
just
through the
in the
lobby. They
lobby.
come through the
No,
back.
ours is like the entire arena is a shrine to Arizona basketball. Like there's just like all
Well,
up and down the
you
hallways.
do realize I went to a juggernaut on the football field, so that kind of
That's
takes
true.
precedence
That's
over
true.
every other sport.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, should we? Okay, I feel like I've done this all wrong, even though it's going to air later. Happy birthday.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
I mean, that's the other thing, too.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, you just, oh, geez, Channing. You decided to come
What?
spend your birthday with Road Trippin'?
Yeah. This is
We want
why.
to get his drink on. No, we won't.
So, my first podcast I ever did was with Richard Jefferson. So
Episode 35, Road Trippin'?
I don't know what episode it was.
I'm just,
It was on
I
Road
see
Trippin'?
this one.
I
People
know,
don't,
let me just
we
say
don't
that.
get enough. We don't get enough credit for the godfathers of this sports podcast. We don't get
That's
enough.
amazing.
We don't get enough credit. But,
But
thank you,
were still,
Robert.
I think you were still in a little pup in Cleveland. When
She
it
was in
happened.
No, I
Cleveland.
was
Alex
a part of
Curry.
it, but Richard decided to just leave Channing and I to fend for ourselves that summer.
did it with Geeter.
And he decided,
Yeah, we did it with Geeter.
He created,
that
yeah.
was Road Trippin' LA or
Summer
something.
edition.
Summer
However,
edition.
It was fun.
With
But I want
that-
to say this, though. That podcast added
Inspired
fuel
you?
to the fire of people not liking me in San Antonio.
Okay, can we talk about it? Because if you didn't listen to it, you have to go back. We're on episode like 165, 167, 169,
Yeah.
maybe right now.
That's
but,
what she said.
Yeah, I know. But Rob's episode is episode 35. And the title literally is F Road Trippin' with Robert Ory. Because
That was that's still one of our most listened to podcasts.
It is.
Because at that time I was really mad at Pop, the Spurs, and everybody. So I kind of just let it flow.
Wait, why? At that time in 2017?
Yeah, because when you leave the league and you feel like people have lied to you, you kind of pisses you off. If a guy comes and tells me, "Yo, Rob, I don't like you because of this reason, I wouldn't even get mad. I would respect you. But if you tell me something, like we like to say, blow smoke up your ass, and then I have an issue. And I think with me, it was when Pop, like I was at the end of my career, and Pop's like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring you back. And so just stay in shape, we're gonna bring you back because we're gonna make a trade. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I'm sitting there and I'm sitting, I never heard back from him. You know, at least call me back and it's like, yo man, that deal fell through, we're gonna go another direction. Don't have me waiting by the phone, which, you know, I can respect as a business. And sometimes, you know, things, you know, it's a pecking order and I went on that order. But I was a little upset. I said
Yeah,
some
but
things.
sometimes, and to your point though, it's different when you have equity with a person. It's like, I've played with you, we won a championship together, you were a large part of that.
I saved your ass in 2005, yeah.
Yeah, so you've saved a lot of asses over the course of your career. Point being is like that's where the frustration, correct me if I'm wrong, is more of if I was just a guy, if I was just that, but we have a prior history and relationship. So like if you tell me, to your point, hey, this isn't the direction we're gonna go right now, but I appreciate you, versus just silence. That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a big tough one. And I think if a lot of times that's where the disconnect becomes with organization and players. And I think sometimes they don't think players can handle the truth. And I think a lot of players can, because if you tell a player the truth and tell them in a matter of time, especially in the off season, like, oh, we're not gonna bring you back. Okay, now I can move on to find out what I can do or make a decision for my case if I want to continue playing or if I want to find another team. Because when you in your 16th season, you're not really trying to find another team and learn new plays. You say, okay, I'm comfortable here, my family is here, I don't want to move on. So you're sitting there waiting and passing up other opportunities. And I think that's the problem that happens where organizations forget that you do have other opportunities. Don't let this pass these guys by, because, hey, well, you know, I might have wanted to go play another 2 years. Not even though I didn't, but I just think that it was, the way it was handled was kind of wrong, so I was a little perturbed.
Okay, so you came on road tripping and you let it all out. What? You left, that was in what? With the Spurs? What year?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, so like,
It was so
exactly.
long ago.
So like 10 to 15 years later, you decide to divulge all of this on road
but
tripping.
you gotta understand, like sometimes you're like, you know what, I want to say something.
But you got to realize he and I both played for the Spurs, so we kind of understood what was going on in that system. So it was kind of, he just said the right thing, and it just.
So who did you first?
Diarrhea.
The
of
wine
mouth.
also helps. When we're in the Red Cup Lounge, that also helped. Downstairs basement. So, you know, it's typically the second or third glass of wine. You're like, you know what I've been meaning to say for the last decade, right? So it's no, I get it. But, you know, the cool thing about, you know, the situation in San Antonio is that, to me, there's always like such a huge positive, and there's also, I don't want to say negative, but it's like a huge learning experience. So like you had a great, a ton of positive stuff, and you learned a lot in that situation, whether it's about business, how things are done, the hierarchy, you know, just all the stuff. San Antonio is a very unique place.
Does it give you a different level of respect, like all three of you as players in the league, to see what Tim Duncan did? Just, he was with that. What?
I thought it was funny.
I mean, the same franchise, right? For that many. Why?
No, so
why are we-
again, Robert's silly. No, so Robert's funny, right? So we had a conversation earlier today, and I was like, Robert, you have said that Hakeem Olajuwon was better than Tim Duncan. And he started getting death threats from San Antonio fans.
I can't even go back to SA no more. They pissed at me.
Yeah, well,
because you
again,
said that.
so for the people on Spectrum and on, you know, the Road Tripping family that haven't heard it in a long time, what were your thought process behind saying, like, if you had to draft one guy, you would draft Hakeem Olajuwon over Tim Duncan 10 times?
Yes, so I said this, and so the whole city of San Antonio was mad at me because they felt like I said Tim Duncan is the worst player in the world, but I did not say that. I said, to me, and this is my personal opinion, just like I try to explain to everybody, if someone comes up and says, I'm gonna say my mother is 10 times better than your mom. And so, you know, and so it's just my feeling. I know it ain't the same. It's a relationship, it's a mother and father, but I said, because I look at it like this, Dream was my mentor. He took me on his wing when I first got to Houston. He helped me learn not basketball, but the business side of basketball, which is the most important thing when you come to the NBA. So, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. When I got to San Antonio, there was nothing Tim Duncan could teach me. So my love for Dream is a lot, you know, is bigger than it is for Tim. So I said, Dream is 10 times better than Tim Duncan. And the world was on fire after that because they felt like I slapped Tim Duncan in the face, which I didn't. I just said, I feel like Dream is 10 times better than Duncan.
You, Channing, and Richard all know something about saying things where the public or Twitter or the trolls really just don't agree with any of you.
No, no. Well,
San
listen,
Antonio
you
don't agree with
can't-
anything. You can't say anything
talk-
about Tony, Parker, Ginobili, and Tim Duncan,
Or
and
Pop.
David Robinson.
Can
Everybody
they
else,
say anything about you?
Oh, you can say whatever you want.
They don't like it when you talk about me. Just they don't want my name brought up. They don't want my name brought up at all. That's the key part there.
But the thing is, I love San Antonio. I made some really great friends in San Antonio, but it's almost like you can't be opinionated when it comes to talking about the Spurs. It's like you can't say anything bad. And I love the organization. I loved Pop. I love playing for Tim. I thought Tim was one of the greatest teammates ever. He never got mad about not getting the ball because we know, think about it. This Tim was still in his prime. He allowed Tony Parker to do his thing and win MVP of a finals when Tim could have probably said, no, it's my time to shine because there's nobody. But he stepped back. He is the most humble guy, and he doesn't get mad. He doesn't want accolades. He just wants to win.
Yeah.
So I love that about the guy, but, that is the
But if
your
you had to
opinion.
draft,
I'm drafting Dream all day.
you're drafting Dream all day.
Yeah.
Who's your top 5 all day team?
All day, Jordan, Dream, Kobe, Shaq, and I always throw this one in there. Everybody laughs when I say that, Bernard King.
Ooh.
Nobody. I
Okay, why Bernard King?
Because I just think anytime you can score 40 with 2 dislocated fingers on the right hand and the left hand, it's just certain guys in this league that don't get enough respect.
Bernard
And
King.
Bernard King was amazing. He could score on anyone. We can talk about. I love Clyde. I love Tim and all these guys I played. But when you sit back and you watch somebody and you see what they could do on other teams, you respect that. And I just love the way Bernard King played the game.
Bernard King was right before the NBA really made that jump to like Maine. So it's like all of the old heads know his name. You see his records, his numbers in the Garden, and all that other stuff. And Christmas Day, I think he might still have the record for most points on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But it was like right before the NBA really turned that corner and became like box office. So his name is more of like.
Who?
No, but I'm saying his name is more in the lines of I don't even know how to say it. It's more of like a legend than it is the actual reality.
It's like one of those guys at Rucker Park.
Yeah, like Rucker Park. It's like Pee Wee Kirkland. It's like
You
the
probably don't even know who
legend of
Bernard
him
King
is
is, do
greater.
you?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Richard, who's your 5?
I was just gonna ask for the both of you to give your 5. Yeah.
my 5 of
like
what? All-time teammates?
No, players, right? Did you say teammates,
Yeah,
Channing?
players.
Yeah,
Players or
players.
teammates?
Yeah, your 5 teams.
All-time
Oh,
players.
that's tough, man, because like, again, like we don't, it's so
You're
weird.
gonna miss somebody. This is
No,
your
I said, you
opinion.
hush your mouth. I think
It'll
personally.
actually, in 2 weeks, it'll change, right?
What? In 2 weeks it changed. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I think I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest basketball player to ever live, right? Like if you're talking about high school, college, professional career, show me a flaw from start to finish. Like the dude won 3 national championships, then goes to the NBA.
Should have won 4 if the freshman could
If
play.
the freshman could have played.
Yeah.
So you go and look at it, and it's like he is. Like you could talk about the GOAT NBA players might different because then it levels out the playing field a little bit. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest person to ever touch a basketball, right? Like so Kareem is one. I would put, to me, I think Magic, again, personally, is the greatest Laker of all time. I'm just no disrespect to Kobe. I just think that Magic Johnson, whether it's winning a championship as a rookie, like multiple, same amount of championships, all-time leading assist man when he retired, all this stuff, I think Magic, especially because what he did helped bring the NBA to where it is, helped save the NBA, like everything. So like his cultural impact, very similar to how Steph Curry changed the game. Magic Johnson saved the game. That's a different thing. So I would say, yeah, Kareem, Magic. I would put Bron in my 5. I would put Tim Duncan because I played against him and played with him. And then after that, I'm just going to go, again, personal preference about people that I played with. Jason Kidd. I think
Wow.
Yeah, I would just say like Jason Kidd, if I had Jason Kidd and the business of basketball, the tweaks of basketball, he was the first person to teach me to talk to the referees, get to know them, like say hello. And that goes a long way in like helping your career and helping your, just being respectful to the game. So, I don't think Jason Kidd's a top 5 guy of all time, but like
Who's
I have
running
to throw in
point
some
on your
guys.
team?
What?
Who's running point on your team?
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd.
What about Magic?
Magic can play. Magic can play any position.
Yeah.
Magic and Bron are like similar. You play any
Oh, yeah,
position.
what about Bron?
Yeah, they play any position. They play any position. But Jay Kidd, with all due respect to both, as fast as Bron is, Jay Kidd was faster. Jay Kidd in his prime was fast.
Yeah.
He was a
Channing,
speedster.
who's your 5?
Yo, Bron, Jordan, Kobe, Dirk, and Shaq.
Wow.
That's quick. And the reason why I have Dirk
He was ready for
and
that.
not Hakeem or Tim Duncan is just, I feel like you could put Dirk anywhere on the court and he's a problem, right? Not that like Tim Duncan obviously was better defensively, but for me, it was just like to see a big man that's 7 foot, that versatility there was nothing. I'm 7 foot and I didn't realize that until like later on in my career.
How do you not realize how tall you are?
Dirk was way like you could not block his shot, and it was like no matter you knew he would tell me what he was gonna do. He's like fade away. I'm like fade away nothing. Let me play this cash. Give me the burger, right? He'd be like, give me this. I got a burger on me, and start shooting these. And I'm just like, there's nothing I can do to guard this dude. Like I have to just hack him. And it was just like he just was just you know a shot is coming. And then I would say coming off the bench, I would say
Well, who said bench? It said 5. How are you doing a bench?
Because
What is it?
everybody.
because it's my game, motherfucker. I mean, to be honest, I would put the Dream on there. Growing up in Phoenix and watching him absolutely dismantle the Suns was awesome because my dad was like, "Hey, look."
Remember when Kevin Johnson, that was like,
These
again,
moves.
in Phoenix, there has never been a play shown more
When he
in
dunked on
all
Dream?
of Phoenix history, still
Oh,
to this
God.
day, than when Kevin Johnson dunked on Kareem Hakeem.
So get this.
Here we go.
Kevin Johnson had the nerve to bring that picture in the locker room and ask Dream to sign it.
No, he didn't.
No.
No,
Dream,
he didn't.
Dream looked at him. People don't know this about Dream. Back in the day, Dream would sock you in your mouth because only like a $25 fine. Dream used to knock people out. So Dream almost reverted to the days before he really dove deep into his religion. Yeah, he looked at him like, don't disrespect me like that. And he's like, don't disrespect me like that. And everybody said, dude, you better get out of here. I was like, who has
way.
the nerve to do some stupid crap like that? You come in the locker room when you dunk on someone, I'd be acting like, oh, Allie, I'm gonna dunk on you, Mack Truck, I'm about to kill you. Here, sign this for me. It's just,
I would sign it
that
for you
just
though.
lets you know the culture of the
Phoenix Suns.
the Phoenix Suns.
But
I would sign it for you.
question is, did he sign it?
No. KJ almost got his jaw knocked off. He didn't leave that locker room fast enough. I'm like, dude, what?
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine walking into the locker room and asking a guy that you just dunked on, like, what could you sign it? What would be the top 5 dunks that you think a guy should go into the locker room and ask somebody else to sign? The Sean Kemp one.
Jason Terry by LeBron.
Yeah.
Okay, but wait. Okay, the Vince Carter over the
Oh, my God.
in the Olympics.
Yes.
Kobe on Dwight.
Oh,
I was gonna say.
Kobe on Dwight.
Aaron
Kobe
Davis
in
or
there.
Andre Kirilenko.
T-Max on,
over Bradley.
Bradley, yeah.
Ooh.
We're missing
Starks
one.
on Jordan.
Yeah.
Could John Starks go into the Bulls locker room? And ask
Jordan putting his hands on him. He gonna put his hands on him.
No, but like, okay, so I think that's more of like, what does that say about Kevin Johnson? Because like, to me, to hear that story blows my
Have
mind.
you ever
One,
met
it
Kevin
tells
Johnson?
you that he doesn't have any friends.
Have you ever met Kevin Johnson?
Yeah.
He's a little different. He's a little different. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I never got a chance, when I played, I never got a chance to know him. I never talked to him. He would come in, he didn't talk to nobody. He just practiced when he felt like practice, when J Kidd wasn't there, his feelings weren't hurt. So He did his thing and walked. We never had a conversation.
Why was
And-
his feelings hurt?
Because they traded for
are you
Jay.
laughing?
They traded for Jay Kidd. And they got rid of Steve Nash and Michael Finley, my two good friends. I know it sounds weird.
Yeah.
That were on that team, and they brought in Jay Kidd, and he got his feelings hurt. He didn't even come to practice for 2 days. And so
Really?
Yo, man, it was ridiculous, man. So I come from a culture where we go hard every day in practice. You know, you're not gonna go long. You can go for maybe an hour, hour and a half, but you practice hard.
Ooh, there we go.
And then KJ was like, "Oh, I'm not coming to practice because y'all gonna replace me with this new kid." His feelings was hurt, and then when he comes back and try to explain everything, you know, he took his little crew that had been there for a while. You know, Wayman, Danny Manning. Joe Klein, and he goes in a little private room and explains the situation. So I get pissed. And I'm like, yo, man, F this. No, I want to hear this shit. No, this ain't no, this is some bullshit. I said, I need to know what's fucking going on. Why your soft ass didn't come to practice?
Yeah, look.
And Danny Ainge was like, just calm down. I mean, fuck you, man. No. Hey, I want to know why he ain't come to practice. I said, this is why y'all asses got beat when you were up 0-2 and then up 3-1 on us because y'all fucking soft. And they was like, Robert, calm down. If it wasn't for Paul Silas was my guy there.
Yeah.
He's the only one that kept, you know, he was like, I was like that bulldog ready to go at somebody. He was always holding that chain on me. But he let me loose when I threw the towel in Danny Ainge's face, though. But yeah, man, it was bad.
And that's, you know, what's so funny is like, you know, Kevin Johnson just again, Phoenix kid, you know, his brother went to school out there. And so there's a lot, you know, a lot of people out there knew him, but you just like, Kevin was obviously he was like mayor of Sacramento randomly, but like not a lot of people like know Kevin very, very well. But he had a first step like going right. That was something that like, I don't think like, that's one thing that's not talked about a lot in basketball right now, like quick first steps. Grant Hill, quick first step. Like he didn't have all this dance. He would just, and it was like, oh wait, he's by me. But
and he had those big broad square shoulders. Once he got by, he was a wrap.
Oh, it's a bad feeling. But
dog, that's. And next thing you know, they don't even hit you with a left to right.
But Channing, against you, literally everyone has a quick first step.
Richard, I've said this before. I'm a positional defender. I'm in the right position. What happens after that? Shit, I don't even know. Whether my feet feel good, I got one pair of socks, two pair of socks. What did I eat that day? Do I feel light on my feet? You know, that's not why I'm out there, Richard. I'm out there to get buckets.
In the last 6 years of your career, was any of those seasons, did you have more blocks than threes at any point in time?
No way.
Not even close.
Chad, I'm not gonna like try
to block somebody. I probably foul them. That's not what I'm out there.
You know, when you first came out of Arizona, I just say, okay, this guy reminds me of me so much.
Why?
Because we both like 3, 4, 5 guys. We can do a little bit of everything. And then I was like, okay, he's going to be the next, you know, because I was the first guy to get 100 blocks, 100 steals, and 100 threes in the game. So I was like, Channing Frye's going to be the next. Oh, in the season. I'm sorry, in the season.
Yeah.
I said, Channing Frye's going to be that next guy. And then I realized, I said, shit, Channing don't block no shots.
No, he don't block no shots. He don't get no steals. He got the threes, though.
Yeah, he got the threes, but he ain't blocking no shots.
No.
He taking charges.
Listen, because we're going to
tell this story all the time, too. My first 2 years, I was playing center. So, like, but I'm playing center versus real centers. I'm talking about giants of the forest. They like, oh, Channing at, 22 years old, 6'10", 6'11", 230, go guard Shaq, go guard Yao. That ain't it. Listen, look, I'm a featherweight. I can't be down there with them big fellas.
Featherweight.
What am I blocking? You want to
Featherweight with that man on your shirt right now. Yeah. Way to get that in there. With that said, someone actually sent in a question for the last episode, Channing, and asked if you ever guarded Yao Ming.
Man, I had to guard Yao Ming in the playoffs for Portland.
How'd that go?
Channing, we need you. I said, you need me? I asked for a trade 6 months ago. I'm going. Now you need me? Now you need me? This ain't it. No. We left. The tires are off. The tires are off the car. We not going nowhere. Man, Yao Ming, people don't understand how big he was and how strong, and the fact that, like, he wasn't just going to bully you. He was just like, I'm going to shoot
was
this
so
turnaround
skilled.
jumper. Right, he was so skilled. He shot and here's for reference, he shot the technical fouls for that team, no matter who was on the court. That's how good he was.
I remember Yao's rookie year. Have everybody seen that video of Boban holding the ball like this and Anthony Davis couldn't get it? Right? And Anthony Davis is 6'11" with the longest arms. And he's trying to get the ball, and Boban's just doing this, making him look like a little kid. I swear to God, Yao Ming, so Jason Collins, who was here, guest on the podcast, I forgot, it was like me and Jay Kidd. So Yao Ming grabs a rebound, and Jason Collins trying to get it, and Yao Ming just does this, and Jason Collins is trying to like reach and get it, and me and Jason Kidd running back on defense. We were like, God, I don't think I'd never seen it before, because this was 12 years before Boban came into the league. We had never seen somebody that much bigger where they could take a 6'10", 6'11" guy and just do this and make them not reach and get the ball.
I remember when we first played him with Shaq, and everybody know how big Shaq is. And then we all like, damn, this motherfucker bigger than Shaq. You know, he was so big, and he was such a nice guy. And I got to know him well because, the Rockets organization, and we have a conversation. And he's talking about basketball. He's bringing up all these old players. I'm looking at him like, yo, dude, I thought you did speak English. Like, what the hell? How you know all these old players? And he's just going down the list, and he come across a couple players. I'm like, who the fuck is that? I don't even know who they are. But he was so knowledgeable of the history of basketball, and I think that's one of the things that never gets talked about him too, his IQ, because if his lower body wouldn't have went out, he'd be probably considered one of the greats because he could play. He was very skilled,
good.
very smart.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of Houston, obviously these guys, and I will vouch as well because I was a part, I guess I covered the team when they won their championship that they have, and they love their what?
It's just one. He has 7.
Exactly. I was getting there. Way to walk yourself into it.
My bad.
But for someone like yourself who has 7 rings, and
That means it's not nearly as special for him. It's far more special for us. I'd rather have 1 than 7. His aren't even special to him anymore. It's like, would you rather have an only child or 7? I want one kid. They're going to get all my love and attention. I don't have to pick a favorite.
Hey, so how many kids you got?
I got 2.
All right, so now you got to go home and explain that to your kids.
They know I don't like either of them. I dislike them both
that was
the
actually
same.
really good of you. I like that one.
What?
The 7 rings to 1, 7 children to 1.
It's like, dude, come
like
on,
that.
thank you.
Okay, but 2 things with that. Do you have a favorite championship?
Of course. I have 2.
You do?
When he's done, let me know. I'll tell you my favorite one.
My 95 championship is special because we were a 6 seed and we didn't have home court. We didn't have any home court advantage, nowhere. None. And if you go back and look at the teams we beat on that run, we beat Utah in a Game 5 in their place where they tried to cheat and hold the clock. And literally, we went back and looked at it. The ball bounced around the court. John Stockton passed it, and it was 11 seconds left to go. They probably held it for 15 seconds before they started the clock. And we won that game. Then we go on the road.
I got to see. We're going to have to find that too.
Then we go on the road to play Phoenix. We go down 3-1 to Phoenix, and then we win that series. And then we
beat
go
Seattle?
to San Antonio. San Antonio, where David Robinson was winning MVP. And they had a crew, Avery, Sean, Rodman on that team, Terry Cummins. They had a crew. We beat them in 5, and then we go
Who was
on
the 2 guard on that team? Ellie?
No, Denny. Del Negro.
Oh, Vinny Del Negro.
Del Negro.
Yeah.
And then we go on to play Shaq, Penny, and that crew, and we swept them. And that was the first time in a long time a team has been swept in the finals. And for us to have that run.
That's when Hakeem was
Yeah.
He made Shaq. Remember what I said, how Boban made Andy Davis look like a little kid? That's what Hakeem did to Shaq.
But that's all because them giving the MVP trophy to David Robinson. It sparked dream. We always talk about, Jordan always talk about how he needed these things to spark him. Every athlete does that.
Yeah.
And that spark, to give that trophy in front of Dream, sparked him. He pulled out all those moves that you see when he's doing this and the footwork. We were sitting like, where the hell did that come from? We had never seen it before.
He was in his bag.
And he went deep into the bag. He like this. Let me go way back here and pull some out. And then, if you look at that, think about that. Every team was a 55-plus win team that we beat. That's incredible. And then the next one is, of course, 16-1, 2001 Lakers. You know,
They were trash.
yeah. We swept everybody.
Was that you?
No,
No.
I wasn't here.
They got us next year. They beat us next year. Oh, that team. Yeah, I promise you. I said to somebody that the second best team I ever played against or faced was the 17 Warriors. Right, Steph, Clay, KD, Draymond. That team. There was no formula for that. I don't care what. Like you
just had to
almost
do
needed
this.
like a USA basketball team to be
is.
assembled to beat them. That's not an exaggeration. You were there.
Not joking.
But the best team was the 01 Lakers. Like the stuff. Because I'm sorry, this is what's different and why Shaq. Well, I know Steph gets all the credit for changing the game, but why Shaq was different. Shaq forced you to carry two extra big men on your roster. So like that eliminated the opportunity to play small, which I guarantee, well, three's worth more than twos. Yes, but you were going to have to keep a big man and multiple big men on the floor because Shaquille O'Neal, as much as I love Draymond was not doing anything against prime Shaq O'Neal. At all.
Okay, so we've got
He's not Ben Wallace.
we've got someone from the 01 Lakers. You know where I'm going with this. And we've got two of you who
No, we
win
don't.
against the 17 Warriors. 01 Lakers, 17 Warriors.
The 01 Lakers would destroy, and it's purely because of Shaq.
Hey, because
I'm
nobody
telling
can
you.
guard Shaq. If you Richard is so correct when he said you have teams. If a team says, okay, we have a chance to win a championship, and they look around the league, we're probably gonna be playing the Lakers. Oh, it's so many guys that got jobs, centers,
got
guys
paid.
that shouldn't even been in the fucking league because they needed a body to put on Shaq. You go back and look at Sacramento. They had Chris Webber, they had Vlade, and they had Thunderberg they would use, and they had
Scott Pollard.
And so they had four guys, but Chris wasn't going to guard him. So you had all these guys you could double team Shaq with or put on Shaq to wear him down, but he was just a beast. So I'm looking at Draymond. He's a good defender, but he's no Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace was one of those guys that was extraordinary. He was able to guard Shaq. I don't know how or why.
Yeah,
he
but
was
you
able to
say
do it.
that, but even when you guys lost, or even you weren't on the team in 04,
I
you
don't
were already in
lose
San
in the
Antonio.
finals, dude. Come on now.
What?
I don't lose in the
I
finals.
hush. Are you undefeated in the finals?
I'm undefeated.
I hate you. There's so much about
Wrong
you.
with the flex.
I hate you so much. But when I was thinking about it, I was like, yo, when they lost, like people don't forget when the Detroit Pistons beat them. Shaq still averaged 35 and like 17. It was Kobe that struggled in that series against Tayshaun. Really, really struggled because Kobe was trying so hard to win Finals MVP that he just kept shooting and kept pretty much
Carl
shot.
struggled against Rasheed too. Karl Malone struggled.
Oh
against
yeah.
Rasheed.
Well, Carl wasn't 100% healthy. His knee was not
But shit, it's hard to guard Rasheed. I tell people all the time, Rasheed's one of the toughest guys I ever had to guard because he can do it all. Inside, outside. The way he shot the ball was almost like Bill Cartwright. It was high. So you talk about blocking a shot, you couldn't block a shot.
Well, and he would tell you to come double team. He was the only guy that would post you up. He'd be looking at you like this. Come on. You better come. Better tell him come double team. And as soon as you would come, he would turn over that right shoulder.
It was the
a
worst.
7-foot shot. And it was like,
It was
why'd you even go?
But his thing is funny about him also, his hands are probably about this big. He has the smallest freaking hands ever. I'm like, no wonder you shoot the ball so good. You don't have those big hands like
okay.
Shaq.
Well,
Channing,
okay.
why do you say it's the worst?
Because as a rookie, they were like, it was my choice, big ass Ben Wallace or Rasheed Wallace. And the minute I guarded him, they said, I got a mouse, bring that double. And the whole game, Chauncey's like, we're feeding you. And then you got Rip Hamilton, and when he does that curl, right? So they used to call it 2 down, right? Where he used to be in the middle, and one side was Ben Wallace, and the other side was Rasheed Wallace.
Setting illegal ass screens.
He would come off these screens, so you have to sort of show, or he would curl for a layup. But then if you show too much, he would elbow you and create space for Rasheed Wallace to post up. So, it was literally like football running backs getting hit in the ribs, scratching your arms, bleeding. Richard talks about it. Rip Hamilton, I was joking with him. We did something for NBA Twitter, And I was like, yo, did you purposely cut your fingers like that? He was like, yep. He used to clip them like this, and then when you would try to grab him, he would rip your
Kerry-
just be bleeding. So you had to go out the game.
Kerry-
Dude, it was nasty. That team was so
Kerry
good.
Kittle's
it was
arms.
unbelievable.
Because Kerry was our part of the reason why, like, if you're a really good, consistent defensive team, you have certain guys that you know can handle the job, right? Like Jay Kidd, there wasn't a point guard in this league that we didn't know that he was going to either get the best of him or be able to handle the job. Kerry Kittles, at a very unique time, was, hey, Kerry, you got Ray Allen, good luck. You got Reggie Miller, good luck. You got AI, good luck. You got Rip Hamilton, good luck. And that was the thing, but that was part of the reason why you have a good team. When you have one guy that you can look at and it's like, okay, so all the dudes that run around like crazy, man, Kerry's got them. Because Kerry might only score and give us 8 points, right? He'll give us 8 points, but he'll chase those guys for 42 minutes.
Every team, you have to have that team. We was lucky, talking about that 2001 team, everybody was good defenders.
On their position.
Fish, Kobe, Shaq. And we were just a team that just had, the thing about us, Shaq he was determined to win another championship because we always talk about, you don't take this the wrong way, Richard. If you don't win 2 championships, that first championship really don't count. And so,
Come on.
I want to throw my drink at you because you could barely even get that shit out with a straight face.
I felt Rob locked in right here.
What happens when Kevin Durant goes and decides to join that team? No one was beating them.
But I'm just saying, this is how we view it. Like, think about it. If you don't win back-to-back championships, they think that first one was a fluke. That's how they look at it. And so Shaq was determined not to have that first one be a fluke. So when guys would come off that pick and stuff like that, Shaq was like, come on, I'm going to nail you. So that allowed us to press up on the outside defensively. We didn't give up a lot of threes. We just phoned the Shaq, so people were scared of Shaq because you knew he was going to give you the people's elbow.
Who was the backup center? Who was the backup centers on those teams? I feel like we had a good backup center. Eldon Campbell was already gone.
Allen was gone, so we really didn't have a backup center. We had John Sally the first year, and then we had Horace Grant. AC was
I remember
we would go
Horace
small,
Grant.
move me to power forward, and Horace would go to 5, but we didn't have a backup center. We had Greg Foster one year.
No, good.
Heck yeah, they were.
Yeah.
But you guys didn't have any. You guys didn't have that slim. Kobe was it, and when Kobe was all defensive guy. But it's like, who's a slim wing defender that would do that? And it was like, that was Kobe.
Yeah,
but
Rick Fox.
Kobe also, like, people don't understand, like, young Kobe. Like, he was a good defender later in his career, but I think he got more credit than he probably deserved. But young Kobe, he could lock up.
Especially on the wing.
Yes,
But in the post, he was barbecue chicken.
This episode of Road Trippin' is brought to you by Bourbon Time. Even if you don't have a traditional 9-to-5 schedule, there is no denying that this past year has changed the way that work and rest intersect. Without a designated office to come home from, we're missing that natural break in our days. Our friends at Jim Beam recognize this phenomenon and they want to help us out. Beat the burnout and start blocking off the hour of 6 to 7 p.m. as your me time, where you can do what you love for you and only you. And what better way to spend my me time than with my feet up, enjoying a nice smooth glass of Jim Beam. So let's make the idea of Bourbon Time a reality. Join me in reclaiming 6 to 7 p.m. as the happiest hour so you can do whatever it is that makes you happy. And if that involves a glass of bourbon, remember to drink Jim Beam responsibly. Jim Beam Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, copyright 2021, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky.
One of the things I love about betting my favorite sports is that I'm always finding new player props or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. It's called a same game parlay bet, and you can only find them on FanDuel. Same game parlay is just one of the reasons I bet with FanDuel. It's easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet. It's easy to place your bet fast during a game if you see a trend you like. My friends, they love betting on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Plus, when you win, FanDuel pays out your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today to create a same-game parlay and use promo code ROADTRIPPIN at sign-up. New users get their first bet risk-free up to $1,000. FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win. That is promo code ROADTRIPPIN, so they know I sent you. Disclaimer, 21 years and older and present in Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, or West Virginia. First online real money wager only, site credit and non-withdrawable, and expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 for Colorado, 1-800-BETS-OFF for Iowa, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, Indiana, 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan, 1-800-GAMBLER, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, Tennessee Redline, 1-800-889-9789, Tennessee, or visit www.1800gambler.net for West Virginia.
You know, and think about it. I
Wait,
love
Cole
Kobe
was
Dev-
barbecue chicken on the post?
You know, only with Bonzi, but Bonzi was barbecue chicken.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah.
I'm in that Portland series, man. I was like, Kobe was so determined to stop him by himself, and it was Bonzi and Steve Smith. It was just
They got
going to the
post work.
and they some of the best post 2s and 3s ever to play this game. And Phil was like, no, we're not going to double team. We're not going to double team. We're not. Ask Smitty. If you get Smitty on, ask him about that series where the only reason we probably won this, they took Smitty out the post. They took him out the post and they started going big. And that allowed us to rotate the proper way. You know, that's what you're accustomed to. Yep. You're not used to Shaq rotating on a double team and then kicking out. So we went back to our normal rotation, and our lead, we caught up in the lead. You know, so I know people out there were like, "Don't you disrespect Kobe?" I'm not disrespecting Kobe like that. I'm just saying that.
Hey guys, listen, people. I don't care what your Twitter, internet, your favorite fan. Like no one's this is an individual that played in all the games, that experienced everything. All of us, like, it's okay to say that somebody was struggled in this area or some of that, but that was part of the reason why I remember Kobe. I think it was like a couple years later, started gaining weight. He started lifting more. He started lifting more.
Yeah,
they called it the
stronger.
Kobe beef.
Yeah.
So like, instead of saying that someone's talking trash, be like, no, like, yo, this is like revisionist history where you're like, oh, that's why Kobe ended up lifting and doing that, because he really struggled in that series.
Yep.
Also why Jordan went back and lifted a bunch, because he struggled against the Pistons, so he got stronger. This is all part of the story.
And that's the best thing about great players. They look in the offseason, they look back at their season, what was our weekend? This is what I'm going to do and to make myself better. And I remember also when we were playing San Antonio my last year as a Laker, and I usually can, I'm not going to say I can guard Tim, but I usually can keep Tim like in the 25-point range.
You keep him at his average.
Yeah, I keep him at his average. But
if you can keep somebody at their average, that's a skill.
He was averaging 35 on me, and I'm begging Phil for a double team. I'm like, dude, he pulling out shit I've never seen before. Give me a double team. Nope, you can handle him. I'm like, shit, the ball got 35, 38, 40. And I'm like, dude, and you think about it, just last season, I held him to his average, and that's what you want, because in the playoffs, to win, the great guys go above the average. Everybody goes above the average, and so I like, man, he just smoked us, and and that's another reason they probably didn't bring me back.
It's crazy the level of success as a defender. You're like, shot, you want to have them like point per shot. So if they have 22 points, you want them to have to take 21 shots. That means they didn't get a lot of threes, didn't get a ton of free throws. And then also keeping a guy on his average is like an accomplishment. Like, you got a guy that averages 25, right? And he scores 25 in the postseason. You did your job. Like, holding a guy below his average is next to impossible, because they can always just continue shooting. Like, somebody can be 6 for 19 and have 28 points because they got 18 free throws. Like, you're like, oh, well, no, he had 28 on you. And you're just like, well, yeah, they can do. So keeping a guy at or below his average is all you need.
So what's the most points a guy has ever scored on you?
On me? Or why are you making that face?
Jordan barbecued him when he was 52.
No, wait. On me or in a game that I was playing in?
In a game that he was your position in a game. Let's say you was guarding. Let's say MJ.
Was it 42?
LeBron?
No, Bron scored 55.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
So
your career high is 42.
No. Yeah, my career high is 42, but I'm saying the most points that was scored against the guy that I started against.
But did it piss you off though? It's like
It did. It
What
two
does
things.
55 on someone even look like?
like a double nickel.
Like a double nickel. I think it was 55.
Like, was it inside?
No,
Was it
no,
like,
no. It was Braun. So this was Scott Skiles' game plan. We were in Milwaukee. This is when Mo Williams was an all-star. They said like every time they go off, because I think they won like 60 games that year. He was like, when they really do well is when Mo Williams plays well. So their whole thing was like not to help on Braun and allow Mo to get off. So it was like ISO. And Braun had maybe like 18 points in the first half, whatever, because it was just literally like 1-on-0. It was like Richard, you and Braun playing 1-on-1. It's like, what kind of shit is this? So then what happened? Braun comes out and Braun just hits like 4 threes in a row and start third quarter. Like I'm talking about, and then he starts doing heat checks.
were you not guarding him?
Dude, no, but I'm saying though, he was shooting
Four
like
threes in a row after one, it's like.
no. 3 of them were heat checks. 3 of them were heat checks. Where like this was not.
calling
This was
it better
still.
offense?
This was still like younger Cleveland. This was like younger Cleveland Braun, where he wasn't. This was before he got to like. I'm huge, Braun in Miami, right? And where it was like he was just dunk and all that stuff. No, it was like tons of threes, and you're like, dude, I'm not gonna run him off the line. If he's gonna knock down threes, he's gonna knock down threes for 55.
I mean, isn't that like defense though? You run them off the line and then you have
Yeah,
your.
but it's like
it depends
it's
if
so
you got someone behind you
Yeah,
to
that's-
help you out. If
Yeah.
you don't, you just let him shoot the 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so then ask the question back. Because Channing, do you have someone that scored a lot on you?
Half the league, but but no, not really. I mean,
So you're saying you're a really good defender.
But I always have this one game that I always remember. We were playing Minnesota, and it was Chuck Person. And I was on, it was one of those games because before that we played them, Chuck had 30 points. And everybody know, I don't know if you probably don't know Chuck Person, the Rifleman. That was his nickname, the Rifleman. And so I was determined. I said, what, he ain't getting 30 on me tonight. So I'm like on him, right, using all my energy defense, not worrying about the offensive end. So I hold him like 5 points. And I'm good. I come out for the second quarter. They put Matt Bullard in. By the time I got back in the game, he had 15 points, all right? So he had got hot. And so now he's running me off. People don't know this. He ran off more screens than Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller learned that from Chuck when he was in Indiana, coming off all those screens. So he came off so many screens. At the end of the game, I'm like this, exhausted, and he has 45. And I was heated, boy, because I said, if it wasn't for Matt Bullard letting him get those 2 to 3 shots and getting hot, I would have held him in check. But
Wait,
my point is, once a player with this caliber, that's so good. Once they get hot,
that's what I'm saying.
It ain't nothing you can do.
It has nothing to do with defense. There is no.
Please.
There's no.
Oh, please.
No.
Unless you heard him,
unless you're going to.
I know where you go with this.
The only way you're going to do that.
The
only way you're going to do that is unless you're going to actively double team a guy to get the ball out of hands. But that is such a last resort. And even coaches, because the game was close. Like the game didn't get out of reach until I want to feel like later because he caught such fire like every possession. The dude hit threes on like 5 straight times down. It's like. This is when before Braun was even known as a shooter, he could make shots, but he wasn't that wasn't his thing. So it was like, and I look over at Scott and he was like, it's fine as long as we don't let Mo Williams get off. I'm like, what? This man's gonna score 100.
That's you probably when you was in New Jersey, you was probably that one guy that says, okay, you're athletic enough, you're quick enough, we're gonna use you as a double teamer so you can get back to your guy.
Yeah.
And I hated that. In Houston, I had the double team, and you had to navigate through the crowd and get back to your guy. And at the end of the game, you look in the stat sheet, your guy got above his average, and everybody else is below the average, and they looking at you like, oh, you didn't guard your guy
And
tonight.
the worst part for me is like with like Jason Kidd, all-world defender, like all NBA defender, all defense. Kenyon Martin, same. Kerry Kittle, same. Jason Collins, like he wasn't like that guy, but he was a very good defender, positional.
Charges.
What?
Took
Every charge,
yes.
was all that. So it was like whenever like I made mistakes, I had the 4 horsemen looking at me like, oh, this guy's an idiot. He can't play defense like the rest of us. So I was like, screw all of you guys. Shit sucks.
Yeah, but that's the worst feeling when you helping everybody else guard their guys, and then you look in the stat sheet, everybody's below there but your guy. Like, Yep, I'm gonna look like the bum tonight because I helped everybody.
Hey, that's
out
what
on that guy.
MJ. So when MJ when he came back with the Wizards and he scored 41 on us after he scored 50. And I remember looking over, because we had so many defenders on our team, I remember looking over at Jay Kidd, because normally if anybody got going at the time, it would be like Paul Pierce or Ray Allen. We would just constantly throw different looks at them. That's why we were a good defensive team. It's like Kenyon's going to guard you one time, so you got to deal with the height. Richard's going to guard with, so you don't know what the hell he's going to do. Kerry Kittles will chase you. Jason Kidd is like our number one defender, but we couldn't have him guarding those guys for 48 minutes because he also generated all of our offense. He would get too tired. So he would just basically, they would just have me chasing these idiots and trying to figure it out. But I promise you, when you start to see great teams and you can almost point he's got to do all the, Tony Allen was one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's got to do all, Marcus Smart. You see the guys that do all the work for the team, even the Lakers with Caruso and KCP, and you're like, oh, these guys got to do all the bad stuff that nobody wants to do. You always got to have one or two. Every championship. Drew Holiday this year. Drew Holiday had to chase around Devin Booker. What? Who said that?
Janet did, and then he did.
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
7 seconds ago.
Really? I didn't hear that in my thing.
I think Bridges was like that for the Suns, but he's missing a little. I think he's missing a little bit of strength because he doesn't have the strength like everybody else.
Let's talk the current NBA.
Yeah.
He's 23.
Yeah. But he's 23, but he's that wiry type of defender that can guard everybody. But I think he needs to get a little bit stronger. Like we talked about what happened with Kobe. He needs to get a little bit stronger, then he can step into that next level of being an elite defender.
Obviously, Rob, you work with us here at Spectrum. We work with you. We're a team. Congrats on your 5th Emmy.
Team. Yeah.
I
had fun at the awards, by the way.
Win more.
I had
win
fun
more,
at the show,
Robert.
at the award show. I just want
Win more, Robert.
I had fun there.
How many Emmys do you have?
I have 2.
This dude's got Emmys and rings.
Okay, wait a second. You had fun at the show?
Yeah, I had fun at the Emmy Awards. Yeah.
Yeah. Where were you?
That's my point.
I didn't send out the invites. Okay, so obviously you're up to speed with the current NBA.
Yes.
You guys work together
Yeah, whatever.
with ESPN.
I work for him.
Okay, you work for him.
Neither of us got.
We have. Who's the team? Who's the team? Your honest opinion. If there's one thing we know about Robert Horry, you're going to keep it real. So who's the team this year?
This year?
Yeah. Who's the team to beat?
You know, everybody always like to say the team has to be the defending champs, but shit, they're a big toe away from not being the champs to me. So I don't think they're the team to even think about right now because I still think, you know, that I'm still looking at Brooklyn because James Harden's going to come in the shape. You know, he's been one of those Iron Men throughout the year. We look at last season, and it shows that if you don't put the work in the offseason, it'll bite you in the butt during the regular season. He got hamstrings. He kept having those problems. And I think watching what KD has done, he has catapulted himself as a true number 1 player in the league. You know, no disrespect to LeBron, Giannis, and all these guys, but
There's no disrespect. We all agree.
KD is just on a whole level. And but the key is, are you going to get Kyrie to be 100% committed to playing Brooklyn basketball? You know, and
Does it even matter though?
yeah, I know.
Yes,
if he
it
doesn't show
does
up,
matter, man. I'm sorry. It is.
But-
no, it matters because you know this.
Yeah.
I
It can
don't care
destroy a
how
team.
talented your
Yeah.
team is if all 15 guys aren't pushing in the same direction. It's
Distractions
harder to
can
do
hurt
it.
you, man. You know, you just mentioned distraction. The reason the Lakers probably won that championship was the distractions they had against, you know, all the things that were going on with that. So, but I just think Brooklyn is the number 1, and you look around, I think the Lakers is number 2. And I'm not just saying that because of the show.
Right.
I just think if you look at when you put guys together that are fiending for a championship, like Carmelo and Westbrook, I don't care about the age because if you can stay healthy, which is by every team in the NBA, you have a golden opportunity when you got a guy by the name of LeBron James on your team and a guy by the name of Anthony Davis who've had that taste and he want that taste again of a championship. So I think they're number 2. And if I had to rate the champions, I think they're probably 6th on that list to win the championship.
Who?
Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I'm not going to.
Who's your 3, 4, 5 then?
1, Brooklyn. 2, Lakers. 3, Sixers, depending on the Ben Simmons situation.
Oh, hell no.
First of all, when you got a guy like Embiid, who can cause a lot of problems, I gotta go with Embiid.
Can you do a 2-box on Channing and Rob right now, please? Morgan, I'm not telling you how to do
And then I'm
Shut
going
up.
with this, and this is, hold on, this last one is gonna hurt me to say it, but I'm going with the Phoenix Suns.
You out of
I
your
can't believe I
mind.
said it.
You out of your mind. You out of your mind, Robert.
I can't even want to say
Robert,
Phoenix
and
Suns.
listen, man, if the bubble taught us anything,
Can I get a towel?
there's no way that the Phoenix Suns are going to make it all. Okay, and I like this because it's always the approach of like, I'm assuming 100% health.
Okay.
If 100% health, no one can beat the Nets.
Yeah.
And assuming 100% health, the Lakers are the closest team to.
Yeah. But here's the thing: is
You really believe that, Rob?
what?
Yo, the Nets
he
are
said?
the Nets are
Yes,
dude.
yes. Yeah, because it's the thing, even though the Nets bench is gonna suck.
No, they added Patty Mills. They had Patty Mills.
Yeah.
He's serviceable.
Patty Mills
They
and
brought back Bruce Brown. They didn't bring back Jeff Green, which I think is going to hurt
That's
them a
gonna
lot.
hurt them.
They still got Blake, and the same shit's going to happen
Did you
every
just say
year.
Blake?
What?
Blake need to be sitting in the chair right here next to us. Come on
Yeah,
now.
he gonna win one. He gonna win one.
No.
But the same thing's gonna happen.
gonna win.
Once the buyout market happens again, you're gonna have 4 guys that everyone's like, so and so. It could be Kevin Love, it could be whoever. Someone's gonna get bought out,
yeah.
and now. If I could see Kevin Love coming to the Lakers.
Yeah. Cali boy.
He would
yeah.
go. I kid you not. He as much as him and Bron have the most unique brother relationship. I 100% could see Kevin going and playing with the Lakers versus playing with Brooklyn.
I just got done doing a podcast before this, and the host asked me if Russ had to call Kevin Love and ask him for a tip on how to play with LeBron James, what would Kevin say?
Oh, they're very different. That's the thing. The Kevin and Russell have very different mindsets. But I would say this to Russell, as a guy that has played with other superstars, a guy that has watched like other superstars have to navigate other superstars. Make no mistake, this is about LeBron. And the minute you can't have 3 kings, you can't have 2 kings. You have a king and you have everybody else that he allows to govern in his space. He will establish like the relationship. And that doesn't mean that Russell Westbrook is not a monster, but respectfully, you're not LeBron, neither is AD. And the minute everyone realizes that, and it's like, hey, what do you think we need to do? There's only one president. There's only one dictator, and Bron is that dictator. And the sooner that you're not tugging and fighting like this is what I want to do, this is what I believe, we've seen that with other players and other situations. The minute that we saw it with D Wade and him, where he's like, D Wade finally was like, Bron, this is your team, go. Right? Like, don't pussyfoot around me anymore. We saw it with Kyrie and Bron. I know, right? We saw it with Bron and Kyrie a little bit of
I was
like.
gonna say a little bit or a lot.
Well, look, I'm not here to like bring up
I
old
say you
things.
saw it with Steph and KD.
Yeah, but yeah, you saw it with
What
Steph
about
and KD.
Kobe and Shaq?
Yeah, but those boys were two
That
alphas
was
in their
too
prime.
Different. That was. They didn't really have to defer because we could control what Kobe did.
Yeah, because you guys would do those like eyesights and not pass it to them. Tell everybody that was
Wait,
true.
Actually, really quick, did you guys talk about this on your podcast?
No.
Because I wanted to take a moment because obviously Richard and Channing, Road Trippin' and the Big Shot Bob podcast have teamed up here. So we're doing like a home and home, and I know that there's some stories on your podcast that Richard wanted to be replayed on this podcast. So I want a couple of stories, but this one, sorry, go on.
Due to the fact that we just had, Kobe Bryant Day, and I hate when guys that go around and tell all these Kobe stories that wasn't there, like this story.
Oh.
Like I have so many guys that weren't on the team to tell this story.
What story?
We had this thing when Kobe would go on that. Everybody knows Kobe would go on that thing where he just shoot every ball, and so we'll do this, and Kobe never knew what this meant. And that means don't pass in the ball. We had this thing called 4-pass, and you could be that far from Kobe. We were like, can't pass him. We'll go the other way. And you know Kobe, how he do that thing right all the time? He would get so mad, but it was to calm him down and to get back into the flow of the offense because he could come out, he would just go one-on-one with guys. He had that mentality, if you can't play defense, you can't guard me. So I'm gonna go
And
at you.
every
So-
time I touch it, I am a threat, and my
Yeah.
goal is to try and score it every time
So
I touch it.
And you have so many guys that tell this story about da-da-da-da-da. And I just recently heard a story about how when we played the Wizards and MJ said something about these under shoes, and then they said Kobe didn't speak to the team for 2 weeks. That's such bullshit. It's such bullshit because Kobe, I remember this game and he came
Tell
in.
the story. I don't know the story.
I don't know the full story, but I remember when MJ went off in Washington on Kobe, and they said that you're not ready to fill these shoes yet or something of that nature.
Oh, okay.
And they said it pissed Kobe off so much that he didn't talk to the team for 2 weeks. I'm like, that's not true. The only time Kobe didn't talk to the team was when we kicked their ass in practice, the second team, and he was pissed because he wanted his revenge. And that's the only time he didn't talk to the team because he wanted to go back in practice and get revenge against the second team. And sometimes we tell Phil, like, we ain't practicing today, Phil, just to piss him off. So that's the only thing, man.
I feel like
the
so
days
much
of
of
practice.
today's.
It's like I know I love Kobe to death and I laugh at all these stories because everybody has a Kobe Bryant story.
Yeah.
Some of them have been falsified, some of them are true, but
So that was so it's a symbol one more time of when you guys knew, because I heard about this back in 04.
What does that even mean, though?
you know you play video games?
Yeah, video games.
So you can control the man on the video game. So this was a symbol. We got to control him.
Because he was
control
like a
him.
video game.
and you guys literally were on.
No, but these were rumors that were coming out in like 02, 03, 04
okay.
that like they had signals, hand signals and eye signals. But I never thought that would be true. I'm like, that sounds childish. right?
And how does Kobe not figure this out?
Yeah, because you
we
don't.
wouldn't do it. Like if he's looking that way, be like, So he didn't see it. He didn't see it. So and think about it. If you watching the game,
You don't know it.
you
It
don't
could
know,
be a
you
play
don't know
call.
what kind of
It could be a
communication
defense.
we like this.
Yeah.
And so, you could literally
And
go
that
back
just
and look
means
at
for the
film.
next like possession or for the next like.
No,
No,
it just
we just
means
went
like
passing
it just
the
means
ball.
slow it down. It just
Yeah.
means like, yo, he's getting excited.
And he would get mad, boy. He would because in the triangle, you can get in positions where you can be like, we think this thing called four pass.
Yeah.
And Kobe would literally pass it a certain way to make sure he got the pass on the fourth pass so he can, go one-on-one.
Yeah.
But we would come down and be like, can't get it to you, and go the opposite way. He would get so mad, and we thought it was the funniest thing. But when you're that good as a team,
Yeah.
you can do stuff like that. Like I
Right.
said earlier, where we just say, hey, Kobe, get your money, right?
Right.
And we was just that good where we can do things like that. But then all of a
But
sudden,
now the flip side of it.
we did
Tell
have
the
Shaq.
story. No. When Kobe was on like his 40-point streak, right? And he was crushing. He was like, yo, he wanted to get it.
Yeah.
You guys were like, what you gonna do for us?
Yeah.
Right? Like Kobe because people don't understand, and we talked about on his podcast how one time, like, game was over, time was about to expire. Jason Kidd was one assist away from a triple-double. He looks at me, he's like, yo, I need one more assist. I'm like, I'll shoot it. So, and like the game is over. Houston is just standing there waiting for the clock to run out. We're up by 10. There's no one fouling. So you know that you do not shoot in that moment.
Yeah.
You do not score in that moment. That's it. So J.K. was like, I need one more assist for a triple-double. I'm like, obviously, I'm your man. I'm your man, right? And it was like, buckle up. So he tossed it to me, and I shoot a three. I said I'll shoot it. I didn't go lay it up. I still somewhat had to knock down a shot. So I knocked down, and I feel like it was Ray for Austin. I was like, hey, what the? And then, like, me and J. Kidd just sprint off the floor, and J. Kidd was like, don't worry, I'll tell the media, like, I told Richard to shoot it, blah, blah, blah. But, like, these are the things that you do for a teammate, and what did you guys do for Kobe?
Yeah, Kobe was on this streak, and it was a 40-point streak. It was 8 games, I think it was, right? And he was like at 5 games, and he was like, hey, I can break the record for most 40 points game scored. And so we looked at him and were like, what you gonna do for us? And at the time, Shaq was hurt, so we was like, it was pretty much the Kobe show. And so we was like, what you gonna do for us? And I said, you got that big contract with Adidas. I said, my kids would look fresh and something. So if you could go in, I wish we had camera phones back then.
Yeah.
Because everybody on every guy went to the board and says like, B. Shaw, I want ba-da-da-da-da. Robert Ory, I want ba-da-ba-da-da. Rick Fox, I want da-da-da-da. And we all put it on the board, right? And said, this is what we want.
Oh my God,
And,
that's
as a
amazing.
joke, but we didn't care because we were that good. And he was on fire. And you feed a guy. So every game, we're just going to him. And we were breaking the offense. Phil got to the point where he just sat down because he knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
But when you're that good as a team, you can do things like that because you say, hey, and you got players that are that good like Kobe, you can carry us by yourself. Go ahead, do your thing. And he was just going off one by one game. And
I
that's
feel like this generation is so used to seeing clips or like the videos and what's gone viral of Kobe like late in his career, right?
The
And like,
24.
yeah.
Yeah.
Number
What
8
was-
sucked.
What did you say?
Number 8 sucks, man.
'Cause it was so good.
Yeah, number 8 wasn't cool because like he was so athletic. So this is the thing: all the oohs and ahs, the crossovers, the threes, and all 24 was like later MJ, where it wasn't like 360 windmill dunks. So it was just very efficient, very like I'm gonna be more surgical. That was 24, like older
refined
MJ.
then, yes.
When he was 8, like he would like do, like, and I know he scored 81, but look. When he was taking off from the free throw line, when he was going around his back, when he was 360 windmill dunking on people, that was 8, and that was very disrespectful to Kobe. That one was a lot less fun to guard, and that's just the truth.
You know, we have that question on our show. I always say I prefer number 8
Number
than
8, yeah.
24.
Yeah.
Because 8 was going to put people in the seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, 24 is going to win you championships because he was more refined and he loved playing with his teammates and he did all that kind of stuff. Not saying he didn't love playing with us, but
Yeah.
he was more into his teammates than he was when we was together, you know. So, but I look at some of the things he used to do and I'd be like, damn, this dude was good.
Like,
Damn,
was
this dude
it
is athletic.
what we saw of like what he did in practice and like the competitive? Was it like that with you guys?
Oh, yeah. I just like, for instance, when we beat them in practice, the second team would beat the
Yeah.
first team, he'd be pissed. You know, that's when the so-called Ruben Patterson became the Kobe stopper. Because we had those moments in practice where Ruben would be on him, and Kobe was like just trying. Kobe would literally take practice to practice. You know, he would try stuff that he later on perfected. Like, you know, you had seen the game where he shoots everything left-handed.
Yeah.
He would go into practice and shoot left-handed. Next thing you know, Shaq doesn't come out. We hit threes, we go up, and we win the game in practice. And Kobe's pissed because, you know, we won. You know, then he come the next day, we don't practice, and Ruben was very arrogant. He talked a lot of shit to Kobe, so he just got pissed off every day after every day. So those are days that you know, Kobe's fire would just build up, and he would go at a guy and practice and just talk so much trash in the locker, like, yeah, I've been waiting on this day. You know, I got my revenge. And everybody would be looking like, it's practice. But he didn't care. He did not care. He wanted to win regardless. So it was fun. We had some great times in practice, man. It's great times.
They don't practice no more. They don't practice no more. Like NBA, you were at 100 practices with the Cavs. You've been in practice with the Lakers. We don't practice it. It's different. And that was like people, I remember when I was like in
You
my.
guys do like shooting drills.
Yeah, but people would be like, man, Rich, you remember this because you remember you were a vet. They'd be like, I would like leave right after Labor Day and I'd be like 10, 12 pounds like heavy. They'd be, man, how do you start the season and you're like super skinny? I'm like, yeah, because back then we would do 2-a-days. There'd be 2.5 hours apiece. Both practices would be contact. You would do it on Monday. You would do it on Tuesday. You would have 1 a day on Wednesday. You would do 2 on Thursday. And what would they say on the first practice on Friday? What would they say?
It depends on how it goes.
It depends on how it goes. Me and Robert never had the same coach. Me and Robert Ory never were on the same team, and they told every player the same shit. Depending on how it goes, we only got one plan today.
Well,
We only
Rob,
had plan.
from episode 35 to episode 165, depending on how this goes, what our fans think of you, we might have you back.
God, it was terrible.
Maybe the next time we have you back, you'll be in the Hall of Fame. I
Wait
don't
a
know.
second. That's the one question. Last question.
That's what I wanted to end on. You got 3 minutes. Rob's 3 minutes of fame.
Rob's 3 minutes of fame.
Give it to me.
How
it to him.
surprised were you when Rudy Tomjanovich did what he did in that moment? Like, was that, whether you get into it or not, and I know that that is important, and I believe that you are a Hall of Famer because I think we need to highlight the people that have helped the superstars become, quote unquote, the superstars, right? Like, you hit crucial shots in every single one of them. What was that like? How surprised were you when Rudy Tomjanovich did what he did?
You know, I'm gonna start from the beginning because I only wanted to see Vanessa and Rudy. I didn't want to see anybody else. I didn't want to see Tim. Nobody. 'Cause we know how boring Tim can be.
I thought he was great.
See,
I
Tim
thought he was great.
actually surprisingly good.
Tim
thought he
is
was
not
great.
boring because, like, if you know him and you know how to poke and prod
Yeah.
him, like you'll get some.
Yeah, he
you'll
was
get some.
surprisingly good. So, but I was watching, and me and my wife were sitting there, and she looked at me like, he forgot about you. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker forgot about me because he goes through his whole speech. He mentions everybody but me. I'm like, well, damn, Rudy, what about me? And at the end, when he says, I want to, talk about Robert Horry getting in the Hall of Fame, I literally shed a tear, man, because I always talk about my favorite coach is Rudy T. And I talk about how his coaching style changed me as a player and how him believing in me when nobody else did. And one of the reasons I got traded when I was with, to Detroit is because I didn't believe in myself, and he believed in me. And so I know it sounds weird to say he traded, but I came back. He came to me and said, hey, I believe in you. So he was just a great coach. Any coach that can come to you and say, hey, what do you want to do? What can I do to make you better? It's not like I'm going to run a system. You tell me what I can do to make you successful on this team. And I just felt like that's the first time a coach has ever come to me and said, yo, what can I do to make you better? And I just felt like he was a great coach. But when he said that, I'm crying. I'm like, I won't cry, but I'm shedding tears, and Candace is looking at me like, why are you crying? I says, do you know how important it is for a guy who gets
on
in the
that
Hall,
stage,
to acknowledge someone else? Because now it puts the Hall of Fame on notice and like, oh, well, maybe we need to look at this guy, because I never thought I would get in the Hall of Fame if I do get in, because I know first thing out of everybody's mouth is he didn't score enough points. Mm-hmm. And I want to say, motherfucker, the game ain't about points. I said, this is where you got it confused. It's like, I played great defense. I did a lot of things for the team. I made the team successful. My favorite line is, I don't make the product, but I damn sure make it better. And so that's what I did for every NBA team I played for. So do I deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? It's up to the people who vote.
It is up to the people who vote, but the last thing I'll say is this. As a person who, I played in 4 NBA finals, 17 years, the only reason why I played as well in 2016 is because in 2002, when we lost to the Spurs, I saw that the people that changed the series over was Steve Kerr, Speedy Claxton. Those were the difference makers, right? It's the stars, but the guys that, like, Steve Kerr hits 2 threes, you can't leave him now. Tim Duncan goes for damn near a quadruple double. So very early on, I saw that 7 through 10, right, 6 through 10 do decide NBA championships. So going into 16, I was super, super locked in. But you being one of those 6 through 10, 5 through 10 guys, you did that your entire career, hit big shots, big moments. And it was just like, we did it podcasting. He has this little thing in the background of like all these big shots. And I'm like, I've seen every one of those shots, because he's got big shots in 3 different uniforms for the Lakers, for the Spurs, for the Rockets. It was just, it's nuts. So I believe you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and I look forward to seeing that moment.
Hey, I'm a party like a monk. If
I'm with you. Call me. Call me.
I'm calling you. Because I know you're going to bring some good wine.
Yeah, great wine.
Rob, we appreciate you.
Family.
You're a 7-time champ, but you're a friend. We love having you on.
I love being here.
Thanks
for having me on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Edition of Road Trip.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
We want to thank the Wagner family of Caymus Vineyards for providing us with some of their delicious wines. In addition to Caymus Cabernet from Napa Valley, the Wagners made a range of other wines from diverse parts of California. We recommend trying them all. We're really enjoying sipping on them during the podcast, and we're also sending our lucky guests some Caymus and other wines made by the family after each show.